Hello everybody, this is Richard Dweck here, host of What the Heck Richard Dweck. That's a comedy podcast where I interview comedians, mostly fellow comedians, but mostly, but also I can interview people of any creative background, but mostly I talk to comedians. It's kind of like a behind the music for comedians. It's, talk about how they started, the origin story, and just where you come from. And to me, I started doing stand-up. Well, I became a comedy fan in like 2010-ish. Did local improv for way too long, which sounds mean. Like, I wasn't great at it. I couldn't do voices and impressions. But I had a good time, and I met good people who I ended up meeting further along in comedy. So I did that, and then I started doing improv in 2011, and then I finally got to do stand-up, which I originally wanted to do, was my first goal, in 2015, and I've been doing it ever since. And I had started my podcast in 2018 about, and it was, just me, ranting, not really ranting angrily, just, giving my opinion on certain things and reviewing certain things, and then I ended up last year around this time interviewing people because it was COVID and, I had time and I had new equipment, so I started interviewing people. Started with my best friend. He's done stand-up a few times, but, he's not really a stand-up. And he's very funny, though. He's, best friend of 20 years to me. And so we hang out a whole bunch, and we've known each other for, that long, 20 years, so it was a good episode. And then I started interviewing people, and I've interviewed so many, and I've been able to interview a lot of bigger names now, like Gianmarco Sorenzi. He's been doing comedy forever in New York, and it's so cool to see what he's doing. He just did a movie with Billy Crystal. Because he's an actor too. He did a movie with Billy Crystal. He just a couple weeks ago got a Comedy Central half hour. I mean, it's just awesome to have someone like that on the podcast. He has an album out on Spotify. It's just I think it's called Shelf Life. It's just fucking great. And, I have it's just whenever I have people on, I'm just hoping, that's the way I have some people on reoccurring, like Tim Rager and Dan Caprio, just because comedy is where you come from. I'm trying to find a good angle. You're gonna see mine, and I don't know. Maybe I can do this way. I don't know how to, put the camera. I mean, now my forehead's just there. This is just me, trying to figure it out. That's just me. That's just what I'm doing. Trying to figure shit out. Anyway, I love doing stand-up. I love, the community that I've met and been a part of in New Jersey, and I'm just trying to, make this more of a settled thing, do more stuff, and more stuff to make myself happy and just figure out what I can do, because there's a lot of uncertainty now with COVID and in the world going on now and what to do in comedy. So this extra thing that I'm going to do is just for extra content for my podcast, extra content for my comedy. I'm going to do some comedy nerd shit, some comedy nerd videos, and maybe have a series where I could, maybe I'll have people on the series that can talk about comedy in a nerdy way, and just, more stuff, not to stress myself out or give myself anything extra to do. It's just doing the stuff that I want. And thank you for listening and watching. If you want to, this is just gonna be for sort of a secondary place for the What the Heck with Richard Dweck podcast and my regular channel, which you can find if you just search Richard Dweck and comedy, and that's it. And thank you. All right. Have a nice weekend, or nice week whenever you're watching this.